Okay, I'm Nikita,
I'm Anne Marie.
and this is going over a project that we had that went on last Friday. Oops. So, we have a um, subset of the recovery DAO called Reimagine Recovery. These are our outreach events that occur, and this was our second Reimagine Recovery event. This was the poster that we put up around the Tenderloin. This time we had a growing number of partnerships. St. Anthony's and Code Tenderloin allowed us to display our posters. They were excited about it. They want to be involved next time, which was incredible. And YWAM, once again, was our hosting space where we held the lunch, and Healing Well across the street. This was the first time that we partnered with them. We'll come back to that. But also, I'm going to kick it over to Anne Marie because we doubled the number of invitations, and Anne Marie had to hold all that. So I'll kick it over to Anne Marie.
Yeah, so before this event, we went on an outreach through the Tenderloin, inviting people to come to this lunch so they can have community and so some seeds could be planted for recovery. And we also provided some services at three different tables for them. So we had little gorgeous cardstocks that look like this on the front and back, and we passed them out, about 100 of them. And it's different than our normal outreaches where we'll be giving out socks, building relationships, and possibly giving food or hot cocoa. This time we gave an invitation. And in the Tenderloin, you don't always have people with a long attention span, but the brisket encouraged a lot of people to come in. Brisket and ice cream were the icebreakers, the main draws. Thanks. So very, very fun to see everyone light up, and a lot of the people we recognized, they actually made it all the way in.
Yeah, so last time that we had this event, we had a long time period in between the outreach walk and our actual event. And what we're looking to do is iterate each time and kind of learn from that last event that we had and make it just that much better. So this time we only had 1 hour in
Mm-hmm.
between the walk and the event, and we had 120 people show up. So really great. And
Mm.
we did. And
Yes.
120 people showed up. Yeah. So I'll start and then I'm going to kick it back over to Anne Marie once more time. Kent, who is also part of the Recovery DAO, is such a vital portion of our Recovery
Mhm.
DAO, got up at midnight and stayed up all night long cooking the brisket. I don't think he actually needed to do that, but I think he was just so excited that he couldn't sleep. So he has this enormous smoker. And then his team made mac and cheese, and the food was incredible. I went to a barbecue place later that weekend, and his brisket was 10 times better.
Yeah.
It was just
Oh
like
yeah.
incredible. So we served 120 sodas, 120 plates of food or more because we also had hot dogs,
Mhm.
4 gallons of ice cream, so many sprinkles, and lots of smiles. And Emery's going to talk to you about the tables that we had.
Yeah, so I was very excited to offer some housing support for people as well as Medi-Cal, food stamps, and tech assistance. Tech assistance is a seed that was planted from Healing Well. They said a lot of people have trouble with their phones, they need emails, so it was nice to offer that for the community. And we had two people at each table. I want to give a shout out to Naima sitting in the back. She crushed it with the housing locating. So we helped 10 people at that booth sign up for affordable housing waitlist, and seven of those people she personally helped through that journey. And then we had three people helped at our tech assistance booth, and the last person that we helped was someone we wrote down the directions um, to a walk-in shelter that he can go into that night. So immediate help for someone who doesn't have a phone and needs help navigating. And for the Medi-Cal and food stamps table, we signed seven people up for Medi-Cal and food stamp cards. And I'm very grateful that there's actually a resource a couple doors down from YWAM where you can pick up your mail and get things sent to you. So it really bridges a barrier that a lot of people have towards getting these resources. So I was very proud of the team. They did a great job. I can't wait to have more of us.
We actually have four volunteers that are in the room right now. So could you guys stand up? That's you. That's you. Dan,
Annette,
you
Naima,
Naima, stand up.
Dan,
And Jake.
and Jake.
And Jake was an amazing volunteer as well.
Wonderful work.
So I'm just going to ask a question to Annmarie really quickly so that we can kind of circle back to a point, which is you handed out these invitations on the street. There was food that was going to be involved in this. How many people kind of hesitated when they saw reimagine recovery and recovery being a word on that invitation? How many people do you feel like kind of pushed away?
There were some people that were very transparent and brutally honest. When they saw recovery, they weren't too excited, and then brisket kind of distracted them. But I did have I did have one friend that I'd known previously who was in this event, and we were talking about the project that we are building, and a lot of people they're like, "Oh, recovery is not for me." That's all right. We're here for community, so we'll just keep showing you that this is a safe, warm place where people care about you. That's all we have to do.
So the first installation of Reimagine Recovery, we had a speaker, and we really did speak a lot about recovery. And this time we didn't say a single word about recovery, and that was very intentional. And the intentionality behind that is it's an incredibly vulnerable thing to ask someone to go into recovery, right? Especially I've been to recovery, to rehab many times. To pack your bags and to try and go for 1 month is a very difficult decision. To ask someone to go for longer than that, which most of the programs in San Francisco are longer than 1 month, is even more difficult. So really what we're looking here is not a recovery first model and not a housing first model, but the recovery DAO is focused on a community first model. If we have these events and people come in and they are greeted with smiles and assistance for 3 or 4 times, it really breaks the barrier of I am here to actually serve you as a whole person. I'm not just interested in this one piece and forcing you into my idea of where you should be going. I want you to come and tell me what it is that you need and then find the way that we can bridge that gap together. So we're aiming to build a safe space of community and safety and really wanting the community to trust us to be ethical and responsive to their needs, right? We have a lot of harm reduction that's happening in San Francisco. That is amazing. That's wonderful. It has its place. And abstinence-based recovery is a little bit more difficult. There's a little bit more barriers to get through. And these are some of the things that we're doing to just kind of soften those barriers. This was our first partnership with Healing Well. Who in here knows about Healing Well? Raise your hand really high. Yeah, that is not enough people. Okay. Healing Well is an amazing organization. They are right across the street from Healing Well or from YWAM. And Kathy Curran runs Healing Well. We have a lot of Kathys in our organization that we just love so much. So they offer yoga, meditation, art, recovery circles, women's circles, so many beautiful things. They have a huge skylight, and just their ethos really follows in with what all of us are doing. And so we had the main part of the lunch over at YWAM, and that was incredible. We had, Jenga set up and what is that called? Cornhole. Yeah. And ping pong tables and pool was going. It was definitely a family event. And then over at Healing Well, we had ice cream with sprinkles and whipped cream and just chocolate sauce. And we let people come and sit down and we took their orders and then gave them each their ice cream and looked at them and really took the time to connect with them. We had art projects laid out on the tables. It was incredible. Not a single person left without ice cream. We also had dairy-free options because Annmarie thinks of everything. So it was really wonderful. We're having another event with Healing Well on September 6th. That's their event that we're supporting this time outside of the Cadillac Hotel, and we would love to offer the same amount of support. So if you'd like to volunteer for that event, please come see me afterwards.
And there will be karaoke.
There will be karaoke. And the star of this event and the next event was Bubbles.
Oh, yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
there was like bubbles floating through the air. It was really fun. Okay, so we had community leaders at all of our tables, and I'm going to let Annmarie tell you about the information that we gathered from those community leaders.
So a lot of people there there's access for cooked meals when you're in the tenderloin, but groceries are a little harder to access, especially if you're new. Um, Hygiene kits. Actually, shout out to YWAM Eli, one of the kind of core volunteers. He told me today they're looking for razors. So if anyone has a connection to that, um, please donate or please connect those dots because they have shower services there and they sometimes offer razors to people that are a little low. Housing is huge. A couple of the people that came up said I'd been looking for housing for 20 years and they're tired of working with someone and then them saying actually to follow through you have to go to this, call this number instead. You're just jumping through so many hoops, it's really disheartening. Yeah. So our goal is to come in and provide that hope and at least reach out to them once a month until they're housed. And employment is also something that people seek. So many people came in, they're ready to work, they want that purpose, they want a steady income, but it's hard, especially if you have criminal record, especially if you have no GED. So this is something, if anyone knows employment connectors, maybe that's something we can have in our next Reimagine Recovery. And gyms and wellness spaces, Healing Well fills this need, but there's a lot of people and we need to support them in getting the word out about them. Community is so huge. There's loneliness is definitely an epidemic in the Tenderloin and in everywhere. So providing a community center like YWAM, like Healing Well, is so crucial to people, um, to their well-being. And yeah, documentation is very hard. People lose their phones, they get stolen, IDs. It's really tricky. So I'm hoping that we can create a more easy channel, a path for people to get their IDs. I know that is Grace Cathedral has kind of a 30-minute um, access point for them to get their IDs. So that would be an upgrade for us. Medi-Cal is very huge and it's not that hard to apply online. It's just nice to have someone with you when you're doing it. And clothing, a lot of people were asking for clothing. YWAM has their free closet. It's not open all the time. So maybe putting signage out or when we go on our walks, letting people know when this is could be really beneficial.
One of the main things that we were trying to really get some information on is what are the services that you need that you don't know how to access? Because we actually know how to access a lot of these things, right? And so the gap in between is we think that everybody knows how to access because if we have that understanding, but that's really not the case. And so um, having these understanding these needs so that we can iterate a little bit better next time. Like we already have a lead on how to get documentation inside of our event next time.
Yes.
That I'm working on right now. So that one's huge. Okay, so we had some really great feedback. I just want to share a couple of things that I heard. I had to walk back and forth across Ellis Street. Maybe I walked 50 times just to deliver everything. I was there for a long time. And I got stopped probably 10 times, especially after the lunch. And this is what I heard. This is the most I've ever felt like family. You didn't just feed us, you listened, right? We created spaces where people felt like dignified in the entire service of feeding. I heard things like, when are we going to do this again? I can't wait to bring my friends, right? And when's ice cream? That's really what I heard the most. So these are some of the feedbacks that we got from volunteers, but I'd love to hear from Naima and Annette and a little bit from Jake. So can we just get a little bit of feedback that's not from the people who organized? Be brutally honest.
So feedback far as clients or how it went? Or
Tell us how the event was for you, just to participate in it, what you did at the event, and what are some things that we can do to make the next event even better?
um, so it went very well. Anne Marie and I sat in the front, so we kind of were greeters as well as the housing table. Um, I just saw a lot of happy faces, a lot of eager tummies that were there because we did promote food first for the community. Of course, that's a love language for a lot of people too. Um, I saw a lot of action. You know, the people that were helping and organizing, they were just on top of their game. It flowed really smoothly. And again, we could have used a lot more volunteers to love on the people that attended. And I love that people that volunteer at YWAM on the daily, they sat at the tables and they filled out forms with the community. I don't know exactly what was on the forms, but I saw a lot of information that I was like, they're really getting to the bottom of the needs. That was really good.
So on the forms, we had 4 questions. It was, what made you smile in the last 24 hours? What are the services that you need in order to thrive but don't know how to access? What are the places in the Tenderloin that make you the happiest? And the fourth question was, where do you see yourself 1 year from now? We have all of those forms, the, especially the last one. There were conversations or there were answers like, I see myself in a house with my family. I see myself in an office job thriving. Like these are the dreams. And the space between that dream and where they are now is filled with the minds and the hearts of all the people in this room, right? Like, yes, we can. So, Jake, I would love to hear your experience and then Annette.
Yeah, so that for me was one of my favorite experiences. I immediately went on Discord and wrote both of them, said it was an amazing job. It was my favorite experience at school. I have a lot of service opportunities, but nothing like this one where I just really felt like I was giving back because you can work here and say you're helping the community, but it doesn't feel that way until you actually are out there and doing it. And so this was one of those opportunities. So I just felt so grateful to be a part of it. So thank you guys.
I also absolutely loved being part of this event and part of this team. And thank you to everyone who was behind the scenes putting it together. Some of the feedback, I think I agree that it would be a wonderful to have more volunteers and to educate the volunteers as much as possible on how to do things. I felt like I wanted to do more and I was slowing Anne Marie and Naima down at the housing table. So educating us and even, maybe having people bring their own computers if they feel comfortable, just so there's more technology to get more done. Also having signage above the tables or next to the tables, maybe printing out really big food stamps, Medicaid or Medi-Cal, housing, tech, um, would be awesome. And then, yeah, more space at the tables as we get more volunteers. The kitchen team did such a fabulous job. And I loved that people were seated and being served. If there's any way to get more food out at the beginning more quickly, just so people don't feel like they're the ones who are waiting, I think that is always helpful, just so nobody feels like they're not recognized. And yeah, um, the forms and the questions were really powerful. Some people weren't that interested, so it was nice though to have something to ask if you weren't sure where to go with the conversation. So I really appreciated having those sort of icebreaker type questions just to keep the flow of conversation going. Wonderful job.
Thank you so much.
Great job, ladies. Do you have any Just a short question. Do you have any Christian tracts or Christian material for them to read when they're there?
So it is at YWAM, and we had a couple of different things that were going on. YWAM is Youth with a Mission. It is Christian or Catholic, or it's Christian based. They have Bible study that happens twice a week. Is that right? Yes. And so we really encouraged the people who are volunteers at YWAM to walk around and to let people know, especially people who are new to the space, what they do at YWAM. Come back for Bible service on Tuesday nights. Come back for our ministry on Sunday mornings. And we did the same thing over at Healing Well. Their volunteers walked around and said, come to our meditation group, so really getting, especially people who were new to Ellis Street, integrated into what we had to offer was what we were really doing. So there was definitely
There were, I think, all,
conversations
yeah,
around
there were
that. Yeah.
all faiths were represented there, and they had individuals that could answer questions, whatever direction it wanted to go. We did have the founder of YWAM come out. He and I got into he was dreaming about what we could do next in the back. So I got sucked out of the front room. Sorry. And I got pulled into some backroom conversations, which was great.
Tell us about the backroom
Yeah,
conversations.
no,
Paul.
he was, we were just talking about what kind of resources could come in. So he was saying, I wish we could get more clothes in here, get more clothing closets. How could you use the space more efficiently? But he got so excited that when he came out to the front, he quickly ran to the back and got some of the staff to come out. And he says, you have to see this. Our place is filled like it used to be a long time ago. Every seat, there were people standing out in front. They were waiting for open seats. He goes, this is what we've been looking for. And then to see all the people afterwards, he was so inspired that we were taking requests and getting people immediately aligned to what needs they wanted to have meet, that he voluntarily ran out and got Jake that list of data where he had gone and the whole city. He had solicited and visited 600 sites that had religious orientations because he just wanted to know where are the religious centers here in the city. And he had a database of 600 that he freely gave to us. And he said, if you're trying to help do that, I want to help you guys with that effort as well. Just to find, so you can find places and get an idea of what kind of organizations are available in every street corner for both food and also personal journeys as well. So it was amazing on the back room. And I think everybody was amazed at what happened with 100 little handouts, you know, that you guys went out there. So it was pretty cool to see that and to see two organizations actively working together. The next time it's going to be 4 and then 8, right? So we're going to get the Tenderloin reactivated and really caring about the individuals. And then the next conversation we have is how do we sustain that to make sure that we have the best interest of the city and of the individual's journeys at heart. So but thank you guys. That was amazing.
Thank you. So we just have 2 different